Bom dia, gente. Espero que você tenha ótimo dia. Hope you guys are having a good day thus far. But because it's so early, it's like 5:05. You can still see me. I got the sleepy looking eyes, but it's 5:05 EST, and so I'm sure many of you are asleep. Listen, I had a thought that I wanted to share. Let me move the camera just a little bit. Had a thought that I wanted to share. I actually woke up about 2 o'clock and this morning, like 2:43. I think I remember it exactly. And I wanted to share something. And I'm glad I didn't, because I was able to listen to a little bit of Barber's World. Shout out to Barber's World. His last post on my way in this morning. And I heard what he said. And I was like, wow, I think a lot of people are kind of seeing things somewhat the same, but somewhat different. And basically what I want to talk about is the future of the Passport Bros, or Sysbm. So this morning when I thought about it around 2 o'clock, 2:43, I thought about the future of it. What is it becoming, and why is it becoming that way? And I had a scenario in my mind, right? One day there was this guy, right? Young brother. He was trying to jump in the game, right? And so he was posted up with the rest of the young guys, and of course the OGs passed by in their nice phones or whatever, and try to throw him some change or whatever, look out for him. Well, anyway, the police rolled up. And one of the OGs was there in his nice phone. He threw something at one of the young guys who was trying to get in, and he threw it down. And he was like, "Man, this ain't mine." Well, anyway, the police kept going. Well, OG came by and he hit him really, really hard in his eye. Like, damn, like really, really cracked him really good. So, later on that day, the OG saw him and apologized and everything. And of course, this guy was humiliated. He was amongst his peers at that time, just like really, really humiliated. So, he's a scrawny little guy, right? 10 years passed. And he saw the OG again, and he recognized him, but it's almost like his mind went back and forth when it saw him. It went back because he realized, why had he been so driven? Why had he been kind of pseudo-aggressive to some degree? Why had he been more so a risk taker or outgoer? Because he had been embarrassed. And a lot of what happened to him as a young guy on that day when he was embarrassed propelled and motivated him to in some ways kind of take on a caricature of somebody that he wasn't. Well, anyway, he saw the OG, and he walked up to the guy, and the OG went to extend his hand or whatever, give him some dap. He cracked him really hard, like almost with the same, probably more force because he was a big guy now. And the OG hit the ground. And he helped him up, and he said, "Hey man, I just want to let you know I'm sorry." He told this to the OG, and the OG was like, cursing and everything. "Yo man, why'd you hit me, man? Why'd you hit me in my eye or whatever?" He said, "Man, man, that's how long that's been. I thought I asked you to forgive me, and you said that you was gonna forgive me." And the young guy looked at him. He said, "I did forgive you, but now we're even." And I thought about that scenario, and I thought about the whole Passport Bros, and I thought about Sysbm, and I thought how there was a time when, and I'm going to specifically talk about Sysbm first. There was a time where here in this country, it was completely matriarchal. And of course, many understand that when the rise of feminism, the feminist movement rather occurred, they recruited a lot of black women who didn't have the issues that a lot of their white counterparts had in regards to their gripes, their concerns, their disdain for their men. And it was more so because of the rights that they wanted. But of course, they packaged it in such a way so that they could create synergy to enhance the movement, which they did. Being successful in that movement, it incrementally chipped away at the matriarchal aspect of the family The patriarchal aspect of the family. If I said matriarchal first, I mean patriarchal. So I apologize. I'm not going to go back. I meant patriarchal. There used to be a patriarchal foundation amongst the black family. Well, when the feminist movement came, it changed incrementally from patriarchal to matriarchal. Well, then it began to kind of, in so many ways, men were leaving the home. They were either being forced out or they just through domestic, and I think I said this before, just leaving the home. So now it's a situation where it's completely matriarchal. So men are saying, you know what? I have options. I have autonomy, and now I'm going to exercise that. Some do it through travel. Some do it right here in the USA. Think about that scenario that I told you. When you got hit in the eye, and that guy apologized to you, but you had an opportunity to do the same thing to him, and he was shocked because, after all, he felt like him asking for forgiveness was kind of, and you kind of basically just saying, yeah, okay, all right, it's cool, absolved him, which maybe in his mind it did. But in your mind, the absolution of his infraction to you didn't make it fair. But what you did, it made it fair. Now, of course, I'm not saying, we should go and find people who bullied us, and hit them in the eye. I'm not saying that. Please don't think I'm saying that. I'm using that analogy to talk about what I believe is happening. Now, men are saying, okay, now this is fair. Now I can use my autonomy to get myself in a situation or put myself in a situation where I deem fair. A lot of the asking for forgiveness that black women are doing, or I ain't just say black, I just say women, is in the form of, because you have white men with these grabs as well. It's in the form of the soft girl movement, which is a sham, which if you notice, it came and it left as quickly as it came. Then you had the Sysbm, Saviors Community Black Men. It seemed like that's going to last even shorter than the soft girl movement lasted. And so now it's a situation where, if you notice they've kind of backed off a little bit. You don't hear a whole lot of women griping about the passport bros. I mean, here and there, but you don't hear this big uproar and the vitriol that was being spewed months ago. It's kind of calmed down. I was always told, I got a 2-year-old, right? And as long as I can hear him and see him, everything is cool. I get concerned when he gets quiet. Because when he gets quiet, I think, oh my goodness, he's up to something. This is a different type of quietness, right? I don't think that they're up to something they could be, but I think they are right now sitting back with popcorn and watching the show. Because I think what's happening right now is there's almost being factions created. In some groups, in every group, if we're not careful, there are factions that will be created in these groups. Some people say, well, no, I do it this way. Some people say, I do it this way. Some people say, well, I'm with him. Well, I'm with him. Well, I'm with him. And they're going to sit back and they're going to laugh. Because although I agree with a lot of what Barber's World said, and he didn't really say anything bad. He honestly, he really didn't say anything bad, anything that I disagree with in no uncertain terms. He didn't say anything like that. However, I feel like we have to be careful not to put semantics in things. He said that the passport is like freedom papers, and I guess to some degree, semantics, you can, yeah. But he said that some people were saying passport, and I've heard that passport are your freedom papers, and I know that they were making jokes. And but when you really look at it, be it Sysbm, be it passport bros, be it travel, whatever, the premise is travel. The premise is taking the autonomy that you have, exercising your options, whether it be you want to date, whether you want to get married, or whether you just want to see the world, or even just trek, whatever it is that you want to do. And so I hope it doesn't get to a point where factions are created. And I understand what he was saying about names. We have to be careful about labeling stuff. But every group, listen, if you don't label yourself, society will label you. Society is going to label you. I think by labeling yourself, you kind of, to some degree, depending on how that label is put out there, you kind of take the power out of the hands of society, who, as many of you guys know, if we're not careful, they will create a narrative about us. Many of the people who will create a narrative about us, they don't even travel. They've never even been out of America, let alone have a passport. So, as far as the names are concerned, that's neither here or there. People are going to label you anyway. You know, we label ourselves. I'm the American Brazilian, so I label myself. So I can't be mad at labels. I can't be mad at names or titles or handles. I can't be mad at any of that, and I'm not going to split hairs about that. I did that so nobody else could. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu said, the best way to defeat your enemy is remove his ability to wage war. And I think by putting a label on some of these things, on some of these groups, and then quantifying that label, saying that we are geared toward travel, we are geared toward the enlightenment of men, we're geared toward the happiness of men, we're geared toward men going their own way, finding their own options, and having as much the best quality of life that they can have. When we do those things, we literally take the power out of the hands of people who would try to label us and control the narrative. So I honestly don't think that labeling is a bad thing. I think that they were going to do it anyway. We just did it to ourselves, and that's not bad. Concerning hating black women, I've said it ad nauseum in my video. All black women in America aren't bad. Nobody should believe that. Like, all black women in America, all women, period, in America aren't bad. Sysbm and Passport Bros are simply saying the options are more plenteous outside this country. That's it. So for anybody to say that, that's almost like a female talking point. And I'm not bashing International Zoe. I subscribe to his channel. That would be hypocritical. I look at his content. I'm just saying that a lot of times when you say stuff about even what I just said, that the options are more plenteous outside, most black women will say, oh, you just say that because you hate black women. That's not even true. That's nowhere close to the truth. So in any event, you know, shout out to Sysbm, shout out to the Passport Bros, shout out to the traveler community. Whatever you label yourself, as long as you're enjoying your life, as long as you are not creating collateral damage in the process, and as long as you have, through travel, enhanced your quality of life, I say rock on, man. Do your thing. I support you, and I hope you support me, because nobody will 100% agree on 100% of everything. Disagreements, I think a lot of times, healthy disagreement is what builds respect. It builds honor, it builds character, and it helps us to understand each other. So that's not a bad thing, and I support that. In any event, I'm gonna get ready to get my day started. I got my cafe right here, 3 fingers, of course. I don't drink this much coffee. Anyway, it's your man Larry, the American Brazilian, saying fala com você mais tarde. Talk to you guys later. Have an awesome Friday, a boa fim de semana, a good weekend, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Até breve, é verdade.